Hi, I am very excited to see Taheshah's shot now that it looks so good. You know, she's now, Angela, can we beat her shot here in the studio? Yeah, shots fired. Literally, camera shots fired. No, I'm proud of you, Taheshah. I can't remember the last time I was able to get a good camera shot. It's the little things in life on my own in my apartment, you know.
Good afternoon, everybody. How is everybody? Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like it. It's my motto, survive and thrive.
I like, whoa!
Welcome to your 4 to 5 this Monday afternoon. I am Maddie Gardner, joined by Eric Chilton and Taheshah Moise. Of course, this is an interactive show. We want you to chat with us on our live streams. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Let's get to our top story today. Storms across the Triad. Christian, kind of a dreary start to the week, but I know you're keeping a close eye on that radar.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is kind of a soggy day, isn't it? But thankfully, we didn't have any issues this morning. We are keeping our eyes on the radar, though, as we go throughout the afternoon. We did have a little bit of lull in the action at lunchtime, but now we've seen some storms popping up back to our west, and some of those are getting strong. Nothing severe on the radar right now. And actually, I'm going to step over here and change my graphic real quick because that is not right. But like I said, we have stayed clear of any big issues today. And I think as we go throughout the afternoon, though, we'll have to continue to keep our eyes on things. Now, this is what I wanted to show you. Zooming in a closer look, you can see a pretty strong storm moving out of Rowan County into Davidson County with some heavy rain and lightning right along Highway 85. And also another cluster of storms that we're keeping our eyes on moving into Guilford County. And also these storms up in Rockingham County are starting to spin a little bit. So we'll have to keep our eyes on things. Our main concern is for damaging wind gusts. We also have a very low tornado risk. It's not zero, so we'll keep our eyes on that. And of course, we're watching for any flash flooding concerns under heavy bands of rain in any storms. As far as rainfall goes today, generally a 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of rain. Most of that has been to the west and down to the south. But again, we'll continue to keep our eyes on things. And these storms could be popping up as we head through the dinner time hour. But after sunset, they should start to diminish and things should start to quiet down. Tonight, can't rule out some evening storms. Temperatures in the lower 70s. For your Tuesday, it's a drier day of weather. A little bit warmer too, but we will have to keep our eyes again on some scattered afternoon thunderstorms for your Tuesday. And then looking ahead, it's generally dry, hot and muggy for the rest of the week. And if we're lucky, we'll get another shot of that lower humidity and some cooler temperatures heading into the weekend.
Trinity High School students are learning remotely for the next 2 weeks after the school learned of 2 positive coronavirus cases. Randolph County School Superintendent says the school is working with the health department right now to address the issue. Both cases were reported last week. Parents received a phone call about the case and teachers were informed via email. School officials say all other schools, though, are operating normally. Group A students go back to class on September 14th and Group B students September 17th. In the meantime, NC State is clearing the football team to continue playing. The university paused athletics last week after seeing a spike in clusters on campus. The university released a statement saying all teams have been tested and cleared to play.
Hundreds protested in Massachusetts, upset over a statewide flu shot mandate. The governor there ordered every student in grade school through college to get a flu shot. It is the first state to require the shot. The State Department of Health said this season it is more important than ever to get a flu vaccine because of the coronavirus pandemic. The governor there argues that the shot is needed to help keep the healthcare system from getting overloaded. The normal medical and religious exemptions stand, and students who are fully homeschooled are not required to get a flu shot.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup right now. Alamance County courthouse buildings are closed both today and tomorrow. Court officials say that all hearings for these days have been postponed. A statement was released saying the decision was made to protect both employees and the public health as the county health department collects information for active coronavirus cases. United Airlines is getting rid of the expensive fee to change your flight. The $200 flight change fee for most domestic tickets are on hold, effective immediately. This applies to standard economy and premium cabin tickets within the U.S., Puerto Rico, or the Virgin Islands. Passengers are still required to pay a fare difference for changes. President Trump is expected to visit Wilmington this week. On Wednesday, he will commemorate the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II, declaring Wilmington the first World War II heritage city. He's also meeting with veterans and touring battleships here in North Carolina. Vice President Mike Pence will make a visit to the state on Thursday. And Wisconsin's governor is asking the president to reconsider his upcoming trip to Kenosha. The president's visit comes 2 weeks after 2 people were shot and killed during protests over Jacob Blake. The city has been dealing with protests since Blake's shooting. The president's visit is slated for tomorrow. And back here in the Triad, Randolph Health finalized its agreement with a new buyer. The nonprofit Dava Foundation Incorporated is slated to acquire most of Randolph Health's operating assets, that's according to a spokesperson. The nonprofit specializes in rural health care. If you remember, Randolph Health filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy earlier this year, so this deal allows the hospital to continue operating, keeping jobs and services in the area.
Greensboro's Parks and Rec Department is honoring students who are striving for success. They are now accepting nominations for one Guilford County middle and high school student each month. That student will be honored for overcoming personal obstacles and showing progress in school. Now, nominations are due on the last day of each month by 5 p.m. The program will run from September through April. Winners will receive a plaque and a $100 gift card. They'll also be eligible for the Student of the Year award. The adult who nominates the winning student will also receive a $50 gift card. To nominate someone, you can go to the city's website under the Parks and Recreation tab. Well, there is a lot going on at the Greensboro Science Center. They reopened in June after being closed for more than 90 days. The center is now welcoming guests, hosting camps, and just opened their newest attraction, a carousel. Now they want to help families enrich online classes with afternoon learning adventures.
This is what we're gonna do. So they will have meet live animals, our ambassador animals, in the classroom and sometimes outside in the zoo too. So a little bit of both.
The Greensboro Science Center had to make some serious adjustments to keep their hands-on approach to science safe during a pandemic.
We're so used to cleaning everything. I won't know what to do if I don't clean stuff.
Now they're hoping to create a safe environment for kids to go beyond remote learning with the new offering.
So we're trying something to help support families as well as schools and the students that are learning right now. We know they're really busy doing virtual school, but we also want to offer them a structured atmosphere of fun learning here at the Science Center.
Afternoon learning adventures started Monday for kids 6 to 9 years old. Parents can enroll their children for week-long camps that let them take a break from working on a computer while also learning.
It's important for me to get away from my screen throughout the day. I go take a walk around the zoo and stuff. So I think we're going to really enjoy this. I think it's good for their sense of well-being to be able to get away from the screen. So that's what we're going to spend a lot of time outside.
With precautions in place, they hope to repeat the success they've had this summer.
We're doing a lot of what worked well for us during the summer because we ran a full summer camp with no COVID cases. And that included meeting parents at their door, at their cars, taking temperature, doing a wellness check, sanitizing before they even come in, and doing social distancing. So kids are becoming really good at that and really good partners in keeping everyone safe.
Now, if you want to enroll your child, you can find all of that information on our website. A pro tip here, sign up early. That way the staff can explain all of the safety features and instructions before your week begins. And if you're interested in visiting the Science Center, know they have some new rules in place. You have to make a reservation and wear a mask. Certain areas are still closed and capacity is limited.
Before we head to break, we want to honor the life of a former Georgetown University men's basketball coach. John Thompson Jr. has died at age 78, according to ESPN. Thompson led the basketball team to its first NCAA tournament in 1975, plus a historic NCAA championship in 1984. In his 30-year career, he helped recruit 4 Hall of Fame players: Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo, Patrick Ewing, and Allen Iverson. Once offered to coach the Chicago Bulls, but he passed on that offer to coach youth basketball. He was the first African-American head coach to win an NCAA championship. More of the 4 to 5 when we come back.
Hello, can you hear me? My check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Can you hear me? All right.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Okay, you've likely heard about the new CDC guidelines for businesses to handle customers who refuse to wear a mask. It is a story that many of you are leaving comments on our social media pages. And that's why we have our digital guru, Jalen Gilkey, going through those comments today. Jalen, what are people saying about those guidelines?
Yeah, Maddie, I didn't think it was that complicated, but this story has gotten you all at home very, very fired up. Our first comment comes from John. He says, kind of simple. Don't want a non-mask people in your store. Put a sign on the door, no mask, no shirt, no shoes, no service. Our next comment comes from Heath. He says he's not wearing a mask. Next, we got a comment from Troy. He says, yeah, I don't even bother to ask anymore. Retail workers have been treated especially bad during this pandemic. More hostility than usual, the risk of catching a potentially deadly virus, all while having no choice but to continue to work if you want to have money to live on. It's a powerful statement from Troy there. And our last comment comes from James, and James says, I'm just going to work from home, keep my circle small, and keep it clean. And I have never in my life agreed with a comment more since I've been doing this show.
All right, Jalen, thank you. In the meantime, Senator Thom Tillis is apologizing for not wearing his mask during President Trump's nomination acceptance speech for the RNC that happened on the White House lawn. Now, there was an image that was captured and tweeted out last week that showed the senator wearing a mask during the speech. But there were other photos that caught a different glimpse of the senator not wearing a mask. Tillis, a strong advocate for mask use, said in a statement that he, quote, fell short of his own standard, taking responsibility for that. More of the 4 to 5 when we come back.
Hi. Me?
Yep. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, ma'am. You know, when you hear statistics on hunger in our area, it can really be staggering. Now, there's one organization we talk about a good bit. That's the Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina. The work they do is absolutely phenomenal. If you're not familiar with them, you need to check them out online. But imagine what a pandemic does to their efforts to feed the hungry. I spoke with CEO Eric Aft about their work. Take a look. Eric, you know, we've done a lot of things with you guys over the years, but there are still people that may not know exactly what Second Harvest Food Bank does. Can you explain that to us first? And then I want to talk about how the pandemic has changed things for you guys.
We appreciate being able to tell the story because Second Harvest provides the foundational support for food assistance organizations across the region. So we have over 290 partner agencies. We source over 75% of the food that they are giving away to individuals in need. But we've got this wonderful network of partners, well-known organizations, and just small church pantries where we provide most of the food that they are able to turn around and give to people who are facing tough times or just simply need a little bit of a bridge between one period of their life into another.
The thousands of pounds of food that goes through your organization every year must be staggering.
It goes way beyond thousands. It's literally, this past year was over 41 million pounds of food that we distributed that is providing, you know, around 36 million meals to those in need here in Northwest North Carolina.
So now let's talk about the pandemic. Obviously that had to have had a major effect on your business.
What we've seen is about 45% of the individuals seeking assistance from our network are actually doing so for the first time. And we've seen an uptick, depending on what county we're in or you're in, is between a 20 and 30% increase. And over the past couple of weeks, we started to see an even higher increase in requests for assistance.
So they do incredible work. Every time we've ever had to deal with these people, it's just staggering the numbers of people that really need this assistance. And then obviously through a pandemic, it gets even worse. Coming up in the next half hour or two of the 4 to 5, I'm going to talk to you about a special event they're doing called Farm to Fourth. And it's a great thing for foodies, but more important, you are helping feed people in our area that need you.
Yeah, and Eric Chilton, I mean, you talked about the numbers, millions of pounds of food donated, you know, to our neighbors in need. And doing stories like that really highlight the need that there's always something that we can do. Pick up an extra canned good at the store, help out when they have these events, because there are a lot of people struggling right now, and anything that we can do as a community to rally around each other, I think is really going to make a big impact.
Right, absolutely. And you can organize your own food drive if you have a business or an organization that you think wants to get involved with this. I mean, it was mentioned in the story, but just the amount of people who are coming to the food bank right now for the first time, and even in the past 2 weeks, this is not something that is leveled off or dipped by any means. The need is only increasing right now. So the more we can do to help them out, the better. Thanks for that story, Eric.
And let's take a look outside, continuing to track storms as we go throughout the afternoon and the evening hours. And sorry guys, if we can take max 2, on that. We continue to track storms across the area this afternoon, and we've seen a few clusters of storms starting to bubble up really back to our west. This one down in Rowan County moving into Davidson County, it is starting to weaken and wind down. So I'm not so much concerned about that one as I am the ones moving into Guilford County and especially into Rockingham County. Those storms are putting down quite some heavy rain, also some lightning, and they are starting to show signs of a little bit of rotation. So we'll keep eyes on that. And of course, with the heavy rain, most of the area to the north and west of the Triad is in a flash flood watch through the rest of the evening, and even Davidson County in a flash flood advisory for some heavy rain that's been sitting over Davidson County for quite some time. Main concerns are going to be for that damaging wind gust and flash flooding. We'll also have a low tornado risk. I mentioned some of those storms are showing signs of rotation, so we'll keep eyes on that. And those storms really could continue as we head through the evening hours, and especially as we get into nightfall. I do think we'll start to see that storm activity start to diminish. I don't expect it to be a loud night while you're trying to sleep. Overnight temperatures dropping down into the lower 70s. A scattered storm here or there can't be totally ruled out. Your Tuesday is generally a little bit drier and warmer, but we will have to watch for some scattered storms in the afternoon yet again. Now, coming up, we'll dive into your full 7-day forecast with drier days ahead, and also take a look at something spinning just off the coast of the Carolinas. Your 4 to 5. We'll be right back.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. There is a new petition online to replace a Confederate monument with the statue of Chadwick Boseman. The statue currently stands in front of a courthouse in Anderson, South Carolina, and Boseman is from the town. He died Friday from colon cancer, and the petition organizer says a statue of Boseman would honor how he changed the movie industry and, quote, there is no need for political controversy. The South Carolina governor ordered flags to fly at half staff to remember Boseman.
The VMAs honored Boseman at the MTV VMAs, I should say. Keke Palmer opened the ceremony with a speech on Boseman's legacy. She said that his talent and passion are a true inspiration to us all. Take a listen.
He's a true hero, not just on screen, but in everything he did. His impact lives forever.
Boseman was known for leading roles in Black Panther, Jackie Robinson in 42, and James Brown in Get On Up, and also Thurgood Marshall in Marshall. Now, many are continuing to honor Boseman online. Jalen Gilkey, you are taking a look at what people are saying about this loss.
Yeah, Taheshah, we had an overwhelming amount of love and just well wishes that wanted to be shared with Chadwick Boseman and his family. Our first comment comes from Janiyah. She says, a lot of people are just learning that this man's whose job was to act was more of a humanitarian, even while fighting cancer and giving the world great performances. Our next comment comes from Maria. She says, we have lost the Black Mamba and the Black Panther this year. My Lord help us. And if you don't know, the Black Mamba is Kobe Bryant. And lastly, we had this beautiful photo shared on Instagram, and this caption says, my prayers go out to Chadwick's family and loved ones. The world will miss his tremendous talent. God rest his soul.
All right, Jalen, thank you so much. Talking about finding purpose, living in that purpose, Chadwick Boseman embodied that. You can continue to join the conversation with us online. Just be sure to use that hashtag 4 to 5.
All right, let's talk Triad weather because we do have several storms across the area that we are keeping our eyes on. Things have really gotten busy in the last hour or so, and we've been watching this storm moving out of Rowan County into Davidson County. Thankfully, it's starting to weaken down. Still some heavy rain there and some lightning, but the storms I'm concerned most about is this cluster of storms kind of forming together from Guilford County, the northwest side of it, all the way up into Rockingham County with areas of really heavy rain, and these storms are also showing signs of wanting to spin a little bit, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Mainly worried about a damaging wind concern flash flooding and a very low tornado risk. And speaking of flash flooding, those flash flood watches are in effect from everywhere to the north and west of the Triad, and a flood advisory in effect now for Davidson County, where they've seen some pockets of heavy rain for quite some time. As we head through the evening hours, I expect that to start to diminish, especially after sunset, and we lose a lot of that daytime heating. Overnight lows in the lower 70s. Can't rule out a stray shower while you're sleeping or a storm, but I don't think it'll be a very loud night. Now, talking about the tropics, this area of low pressure spinning just off the coast of the Carolinas, it will likely become a tropical depression either later this evening or tomorrow. But don't be concerned. It will start to move away from us with nothing to push it into the coast. It's of no concern to the U.S. and of no concern to us here in North Carolina. So after today, generally dry towards the rest of the week. We dry out and we warm up close to 90. But I am hoping, I should say, that we dry out, get a little less humid and a little cooler heading into the weekend. Your 4 to 5, we'll be right back.
Hi, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to your 4 to 5 on this Monday afternoon. I'm Taheshah Moyes, joined alongside Eric Chilton and Maddie Gardner, and we have a lot to get into today.
Absolutely. Of course, this is an interactive newscast. We live stream it on our social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We want you to join our conversation. Just use our hashtag for
Greensboro, from Summerfield up into Rockingham County towards Reidsville, with heavy rain, quite a bit of lightning, and some of these storms are wanting to spin a little bit, so we'll have to keep our eyes on those. And also, we're concerned about flash flooding under these heavy storms. Flash flood watches in effect from north of the Triad back to the west, and even a flash flood advisory in effect right now for Davidson County, where that storm has been sitting for really about the past hour. So we'll watch for any flooding concerns, also for any of those storms to rotate as well. And we also have a damaging wind concern as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon and the rest of the evening. I think it's likely we'll see some more storms as we head through the rest of the afternoon and the early evening hours, but by the time you start to go to bed, I think we'll start to see our storms and our storm activity starting to to diminish. I don't expect it to be a loud night while you're trying to sleep. An overnight stray shower or storm, not totally out of the question though. So scattered storms tonight, mainly through the evening hours and calming down as we head into the overnight hours. Lows dropping down into the lower 70s. Your Tuesday, generally it's going to be a drier day, a cloudy day. It will be muggy and a little bit warmer, but we will again have to watch for some scattered storms. I don't expect it to be as busy as it has been today. Coming up, we'll take a look at your full 7-day forecast and also something spinning off the coast of the Carolinas. We'll dive into the tropics coming up on your 4 to 5.
All right, let's take a look now at your 4 to 5 roundup. The 17-year-old accused of shooting and killing 2 protesters and hurting another in Kenosha, Wisconsin, is now charged with homicide. Those shootings happened on the 3rd night of protest after Jacob Blake was shot by police 7 times in the back. A complaint claims that one of the victims was throwing a plastic bag at the shooter, identified as Kyle Rittenhouse. One witness says the victim tried taking his gun. In a now viral video, Rittenhouse falls to the ground and a second victim seems to try to disarm him. You then see Rittenhouse shoot a second victim and a 3rd victim who survived. Rittenhouse is seen on the video approaching law enforcement officers with his hands in the air, and then squad cars drive past him before he walks away from the scene. He was later arrested in Antioch, Illinois. He is also charged with reckless endangerment. The Kentucky Attorney General says his office received the FBI ballistics report in the case of Breonna Taylor. AG Daniel Cameron says this is critical in the investigation, but there are still some witness testimonies to conduct. He is now meeting with the FBI to go through that report. Taylor was shot and killed in her home in Louisville back in March. Civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump said in a Face the Nation interview that when the FBI ballistics report is received, it typically means the investigation is close to wrapping up. The mayor of Portland is begging for an end to violence after a person was shot and killed during protest on Saturday. Mayor Ted Wheeler is now appealing to people on social media, asking them not to come to his city to avenge the protesters' death. Wheeler also reminded people that information they read about a case online may not be entirely true because the investigation is still open. He's asking people to wait for the results and to collectively work with leaders to find a peaceful end to violence. The shooting happened during a clash between Trump supporters and counter-protesters after a Trump 2020 Cruz rally. Protests in Portland have lasted more than 90 days since the death of George Floyd. The first Carolina Panthers player has been placed on the coronavirus reserve list. Defensive back Derek Thomas is on the list after an injury. He is now required to take a coronavirus test every day while he uses rehab facilities. The coronavirus list identifies players that have either been exposed to the virus or have tested positive. And the Panthers will not be letting fans back into Bank of America Stadium for the season opener next week. The team says they're confident they'll be able to host a limited number of fans later in the season, but no fans will be allowed at the game on September 13th. Safety precautions are in place so fans can eventually go back to games, and these things include wearing a mask and getting your temperature checked. The team did not explain why fans will not be allowed at the season opener.
3 battleground states are asking to process mail-in ballots early. Right now, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin have to wait until Election Day to start counting those ballots. But the states want to start processing the mail-in ballots early to make the job easier for election officials and more efficient at that, too. Each state had an increase in mail-in ballots during the primaries, and local election officials say if the ballots can't be counted until Election Day, they will not have final results for November's election on Election Day. This is also the first year Pennsylvania is allowing any resident to vote by mail. In the 2016 primary, the state had less than 100,000 voters submit absentee ballots. Now, this year's primary, nearly 1.5 million voters voted absentee. Election officials expect that number to be even higher for November's election. Wisconsin lawmakers passed a bill allowing election officials to count mail-in ballots early, but those changes won't likely take effect before the November election. At least 18 states allow election boards to count mail-in ballots early.
There is a bill before the U.S. House of Representatives that could take marijuana off of the Controlled Substances Act. If passed, the bill would in effect decriminalize marijuana at the federal level and would let states handle whether or not to legalize the drug. Now, neither chamber of Congress, has ever voted on removing marijuana from the Controlled Substances Act before, but 11 states have already legalized marijuana, including California, Massachusetts, Maine, and Vermont. The bill comes up for a vote in the next week or so we'll keep you posted.
So, of course, we asked you on my Facebook page, we said, you know what, let's just cut to the chase. Do you think marijuana should be legal in North Carolina? Here's what you had to say. Opinions, as you might guess, all over the place on this one. Gail Wright says, yes, for medical needs. I have seen the results of it used for medical conditions, and it is amazing, she says. The situations I've observed have had immediate relief. Tiffany says, of course, I bet you won't see as many alcoholics and less car accidents. Our environment won't be as hostile as it is now either. Anita Pruitt said, yes, then they can tax it, but I doubt North Carolina will allow this. Nancy Wilkie says, no, absolutely not. This country has gone completely mad. I feel so sorry for the children of today. Kay Stanley said, no, look at the effects on your lungs and your brain, especially those of young people. Just because other states legalize it doesn't make it okay. And Alan Royal said simply, yes, absolutely, a good source of revenue. Lots of opinions. Continue to weigh in on my Facebook page.
Back in the day, 2 Wants to Know was doing stories on these kinds of postcard mailers. They claimed you had a package out for delivery and the company just could not get in touch with you. Well, now folks are getting texts calling them by name, saying there's a package that was found in the system that just needs to be delivered.
Yeah, and for months now, we've been hearing folks who are upset about their packages being lost in the system or even being stuck at a facility.
Yeah, so getting a text that says you have a package, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Absolutely. There are several people here at the station who got that very text.
That's right, and chances are many of you watching right now got it or you will get it. So on the FedEx website, I want you to be sure of this. They warn their consumers and customers any request for personal information like a username or a password is always a scam. Tonight at 6 o'clock, we're going to look at how the text leads you to giving up that kind of information. All right, and hey, coming up at 5:30, it has been 6 months. Can you believe it? 6 months since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. I think it actually feels like a year, but whatever. Cone health experts take a look at where we are now and what's next, and they're going to be answering your questions. And you can text your questions to 336-379-5775. Remember, this is texting only.
Years. Yes, I can. Are you ready to get a close-up of my face? Hello, everyone. Dance with me. There we go. How's that? I don't know what this is.
I am talking about ways to explain death of a superhero to young children.
Do I need to move this or? Welcome back to your 4 to 5. It has been a few days since actor Chadwick Boseman, who played the iconic Black Panther, died of colon cancer. Many people, of course, are still struggling with the reality of this. We have seen photos of children paying tribute to their beloved action hero. And talking about death with kids, it isn't easy, and particularly talking about the death of a superhero makes this all the more difficult. That's why Blanca Cobb joins us today. We're going to talk more about this. So Blanca, what is it about talking about this that is so challenging for parents?
When it comes to talking about death, parents want to tiptoe around it because they want to soften what that really means for their children. But when we're talking about a superhero, you have to think children have a very hard time. I'm talking about young children, like elementary age, from about 5 to age 10. Think about how they play with figures, action figures. You know, the good beats the bad, and then that character dies, but then the next time they want to play, the characters are alive again. So it's very difficult for children to separate that fantasy from reality. And if you think about how children think of superheroes, superheroes don't die. Superheroes save lives. Superheroes defeat evil. They bring peace. So conceptually, it's very hard for them to understand that the superhero's gone, and then add that on top of developmentally understanding abstract concepts like death makes it that much harder.
I think it's totally normal for parents to want to shield their kids from hearing about this, but with all of the tributes on TV and social media, it's almost unavoidable for kids not to find out that Boseman, of course, who played the Black Panther, died. So what should parents consider when they do approach this topic with their kids?
As difficult as it is to talk about death and dying, those are the correct words you should be using, because when you talk about passed away or went to sleep or went to heaven, then children are going to think what? Eventually they're going to wake up. Eventually they're going to come back from heaven. And that's not the reality of it. And it also, research has shown that it also helps children in that mourning process when you use words like death and dying to help them understand. And just because a child might say that their action hero died, they may not truly understand what that means. Just because they can repeat what they hear doesn't mean conceptually they actually get it yet. And it takes time. And I gave you that age range earlier, anywhere from 5 to 10. Some kids get it sooner and some kids get it later. It just depends on how they develop.
And I know that you've touched on this before, the idea of kids not being able to separate reality and fantasy. So what happens when kids start asking questions about Black Panther, like, now that he's died, who's going to protect Wakanda, which is the fictional country that he's from? What do parents need to know to help answer those questions?
This is where parents just jump right in and use the knowledge that you already have about the story and about the character. Fill in the blanks as you think is appropriate. Look, there isn't just one answer to these questions. There are going to be a lot of different answers. And sometimes even with your young kids, you can even ask them, what do you think might happen? What would you like to see? So you're still teaching them, you're still having a conversation, but just realize that you don't have to have all those answers.
All right, Blanca, thank you so much for that information and those helpful tips. The 4 to 5 is coming right back.
Oh, okay. Hello, mic check 1, 2, 3. Do my words match my lips? I hope so. How does it sound? How does it look? Still didn't work?
Okay, foodies, I've got one for you. You know I can't let you down. And actually, I have to credit Maddie with this story. She gave it to me. What if you could get a top shelf gourmet meal complete with a cocktail? And we're talking a carry out meal and everything that you can just stop by, pick up, a meal that you probably wouldn't even see in your house normally. Yes, you can do that. Chef Jeff Bacon tells us about the Farm to Fourth event that lets you do exactly that. Let's talk about the Farm to Fourth at Home event. This is a great way to get restaurant quality, really incredibly good meals, but in the comfort of your own home.
It sure is. Last year when we did this event, it was so successful. And with all of the COVID realities that we're all facing now, we're like, how do we do this event and have it be just as awesome, but do it in a way that's safe for folks where they don't have to come out and congregate in a large group. It's going to be great restaurant quality food, a bunch of the top chefs here in the area participating, and it's sure to be just an amazing meal, maybe the best meal you've ever brought into your house.
So tell me how it works then. How do we go about being a part of this?
What we've done is we've set up a web interface on our website at the food bank where you can go in and you can order for groups as small as 2 or up to as many as you have, and you can order your food. And then on September 13th, you'll come to the corner of 4th and Spruce, the little overhang that's over Canteen Restaurant, and we will have time slots for people to come by and pick up their food. So they'll get their hot food in one container, their cold food in another container, and their craft cocktail mix, and all the instructions in a little bag. Take it home, and you've got a feast fit for a king.
This is great stuff. We appreciate you doing this. I'll be first in line, my friend.
Well, thank you.
It really is awesome, and you can check it out. If you look for this story on WFMYnews2.com, we have the link there so you can sign up and register. All the money, of course, that you spend to get this meal, and you have to go, they go through carryout, so you go pick it up. But all that money helps to support the Second Harvest Food Bank, which we talked about in our first half hour. They need your help right now. But Maddie, this is incredible chefs, 7 of the best chefs in the area. And I got to give a shout out to Tim Grandinetti, who I love with Springhouse and Quanto Basta. He does phenomenal job, and he's one of the chefs in this.
A really cool opportunity, Eric. Might have to take them up on that offer. All right, so we've had a lot of time at home lately, and for me, that means deciding that I hate all of my decor in my apartment. So this weekend, I did a little project and hung up some new prints on my wall. I posted the picture on my Facebook page, and I also asked you to share the ways that you've spruced up your space during the pandemic. So let's take a look at a few of your photos that you shared with me today. The first comes from Christy Bledsoe Brady. She says, I haven't spruced up anything, but I've been sewing away and making new items, and you have to go check out her page, guys. She makes beautiful hand-woven baskets that are very sentimental. I have a post about that as well. Let's take a look now at Tracy Whitman Anderson. She says, I learned how to use a sewing machine, which is awesome, and she made this quilt for her house. She's also been sewing Christmas ornaments, bags, and placemats. So many great tutorials on YouTube. You can learn anything on YouTube. Megan Catherine Almond said, we redid our gallery wall. We love our mix and match frames filled with fun memories. And Kevin Lipford said, woodworking. I built some barn doors as well as a new desk for our schoolroom. That looks awesome. Janice Lawson said, new picture, love the artwork for my home office, and a new washer coming tomorrow. That sounds exciting. Tammy Cook Dow said, my husband and son built a koi pond. They did all of the landscaping around it as well. That looks awesome. And Michael Radis said, sanded and re-stained our patio, added some new furniture too. Lisa May says, for years I wanted my front porch ceiling blue. This year it happened. I love when I see a front porch ceiling painted blue. Very Southern, Eric. All of those projects, so looking great. Puts my print framing and hanging to shame, honestly.
Yeah, well, you know, and I haven't done enough. If you saw my backyard right now, my wife would shoot me for putting that image on TV. We have let the beds go. That's what we need to be working on right now.
I've been stuck in the apartment for most of the day, and I just look around, and now I'm tired of everything that I own.
That means this, Madison.
Listen, I'm trying to redecorate on a budget. But yes,
I'll help you.
You're absolutely right. All right, Christian Morgan, keeping an eye on the forecast for us. What's going on?
y'all can help me redecorate my place too. All right, been tracking Triad weather. We've had some storms popping up across the area this afternoon. This area just from Davidson County over into Randolph County is weakened down. It's just some general to moderate rain right now, but really been keeping an eye on these storms, this cluster of storms that looks to be weakening now from North Greensboro up to Summerfield and then on up into Rockingham County. It looks to be weakening, but still some very heavy rain and also some lightning associated with those storms. As we go throughout the rest of the afternoon and evening, we'll be watching for a damaging wind gust concern and also a flash flooding concern as well. And there's not a zero chance, but it is a very low chance that we have a tornado or two across the area. Again, that's a very low chance, but something we'll be keeping an eye on. All right, let's talk about the tropics. We have a little spinny off the coast of the Carolinas, and that is now brand new, just a couple minutes ago, Tropical Depression 15. It's nothing to worry about for us in the Carolinas. There's nothing to push it back to the coast, so it will just continue its trek on out to sea, likely becoming Tropical Storm Nana within the next couple days, but no concern for us here in the Carolinas. There's also two other areas out in the tropics to watch. This one moving into the Caribbean has a better chance of becoming something over the next few days, but none of those are concerned to the U.S. or the Carolinas at this moment. We'll be keeping an eye on those things. After today, generally, we're drying out. Scattered showers for your Tuesday afternoon, and then it's generally dry through the rest of the week, warming up close to 90, and I have my hopes we get a little cooler and a little bit of a break from the humidity heading into the weekend. We'll be right back.
Do my words match? Please tell me they do. I don't know what is up today. Okay, great. Okay.
Hey, Luke, mic check, please. Hey, guys, sorry, I was having some troubles connecting. I was just having some troubles, but I'm back now. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Sounds good.
Hi there, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware. Where? Delaware.
Hello, hello, hi there, 1 2 3. What did that Delaware? I think it was in New Jersey. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. All right.
So, my 2 cents is normally an opinion on something, humorous, heartwarming, but today I decided to speak with no script and go straight from the heart because it is a very special day. 18 years ago today, take a look at these pictures, I was blessed with twin boys. who would be named Bryce and Alex. They, over the years, I will tell you, and you will see these pictures, and I'm glad I can't see them right now because somebody's editing them later because I would cry, have been an incredible, incredible blessing in my life. Not only did I get two right out of the gate, but I got two of the most caring and loving and self-aware and emotionally intelligent guys that you could ever meet. And it's very rare that you can say the words emotionally intelligent and guys in the same sentence, but they are that. They are the two people with the biggest hearts of anyone I know in my life. Our journey has not been typical. Our journey has been atypical. It has been tough at times, but they are my inspiration in life. I've never seen two people who could bond together and get through the toughest of times and come out better than most of us ever will be. My heart is with these two forever, and I know that now that they're 18, I don't have too much longer with them, at least living at home, which is hard to say. I still have a year, but I love them with all my heart, and they are great guys, and they deserve for this to be about their 2 cents and not my 2 cents. Happy birthdays, number 1 and 2 of my 4. I love you both very much. That is my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
We begin with breaking news. We've learned that tomorrow Governor Roy Cooper will share information about the next phase of easing coronavirus restrictions.
The governor's office says any changes would take effect later this week. If there's a news conference, we will carry it live on all of our platforms. We do know the governor will extend the alcohol curfew through the end of September. It forbids restaurants and other places that serve alcohol from selling it after 11 p.m.
Also breaking this evening, the Carolina Panthers will play their first game without fans in the stands.
WFMY News 2's Luke Liddon has more on the team's announcement. Hey, Luke.
Hey, Taheshah and Chad. I think we all knew this was maybe a possibility as we inch closer and closer to the start of the 2020 season, as now, like you just mentioned, no fans will be allowed to enter Bank of America Stadium for Week 1 of the Panthers 2020 season. Now, the Panthers saying they do believe they can safely host a limited number of fans in the near future, but haven't specified when that would be. So right now, the stadium will look a whole lot like this come September 13th, very empty. The Panthers also mentioned they will continue reaching out to government officials regarding options for future games.